Thank you guys for joining us. This is Drew Code Sports Talk. I am your host, Andrew Wright. To my right, your left, is Cody Johnson. Cody, NFL Draft is finished.
Yep.
We are done with it. Boy, I like where the Raiders went, but we're not going to talk about the Raiders because I want to talk about the ultimate trade where all the Bears really had to do was just swap the pick, honestly.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the Herschel Walker trade.
Yeah.
We're talking about this one. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't specify. The Niners get the third pick. The Bears trade up to the second pick. Honestly, I felt like that's all the Bears really had to do.
Yeah.
They gave up way more than that. They gave up 3 extra picks, and they draft Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
Who benefits from this trade? The Bears or the 49ers?
I mean, this is pretty obvious. The 49ers did. They completely baited Chicago to give up their number 3 pick and the 67th pick and the 111th pick and a third round for next year. Yeah, the 49ers and John Lynch just totally hung over a line about Trubisky, like, hey, if you guys want him, we'll just take a few picks off your hand, you can have him. And they're like, okay, yeah, definitely. And there they go. And that, I mean, we usually tease guys a lot in our fantasy football drafts who reach for a player that's really probably not even going to be drafted or hanging around there to the very end. This was the biggest reach I've seen in a long time. I think a more outrageous reach I saw was when the Raiders drafted Darius Heyward-Bey over Michael Crabtree in the first round many, many years ago.
Yeah.
That was a pretty big reach because a lot of people were like, he was going to still probably be available in the 4th round and you guys could have gotten him way cheaper. But anyways, besides the point, 49ers baited the Bears, plain and simple. Bears, they just set them back for some years. I mean, Trubisky may come into his own in about 2 to 3 years, but when you pick someone number 2, you're almost obligated now to start them to start the season, or even midway through the season if the season goes off the rails. And you just signed Mike Glennon to a 12-year per year contract, so you're giving up a lot of money for someone that you don't really believe in, which makes sense. But you get a quarterback that's even more unproven than Mike Glennon in a sense, because at least Mike Glennon can play in the league. You don't even know what you're getting with Trubisky. I mean, yeah, sure, he played in college for 13 games, but can he do that for multiple seasons? And you didn't know. So 49ers baited them for sure.
I absolutely agree. I think the Bears kept calling the 49ers, and the 49ers like, well, we want Solomon Thomas. And they're like, well, and I bet you John Lynch and Shanahan had a conversation like, hey, let's get more picks. Mm-hmm. And the Bears kept calling, and they were probably like, let's see what they'll give us.
Yep.
And I absolutely believe, I wholeheartedly believe, and I don't think the 49ers will ever admit it, but I feel like they're going to say, no, we told them that we were going to take Solomon Thomas, but we wanted more picks if they wanted to make sure. I think the 49ers are like, yeah, we're going to go after Trubisky. You guys want him? What do you got? And the Bears are like, all of our picks. There you go.
Our future.
They got a 67th overall pick. They got a 111th overall pick and a 3rd round pick next year. So that adds to your depth. The 49ers went at it the right way. They got a C.J. Beathard, who is a quarterback out of Iowa. He's a guy who's been there until his senior year. So you have a guy who has been through the ringer a little bit. Right. Is he the best quarterback? No. But they did address the quarterback situation. They wanted to go defense because that's what made them successful the last time they went through the draft.
Right.
They went offensive line and then they went defense. Mm-hmm. This time they went defense. I guarantee you next year they go offensive line.
Right.
So they're going to build. They have time.
Yeah.
You have John Lynch, who's got a 6-year deal.
Right.
I think he's okay for a while.
Yeah.
So they're going to build. It really does remind me of when the Rams went for the number 1 pick to get Jared Goff. Mm-hmm. And what it reminds me of is this. You get Jared Goff as the number 1 overall pick. You're out of your gore if you don't say that he was going to play. I mean, you were insane to think that he was not going to play that year. And he started and ended the year. Mm-hmm. It's going to be the same thing because Jeff Fisher did it to save his job.
Right.
John Fox isn't going to be covered here.
No.
John Fox is on the hot seat.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So if they throw out Trubisky, it's because it's John Fox's last Hail Mary to try and save his job. What if Trubisky is great? But if he's not, then John Fox can't leave there and go, man, I should have played Trubisky.
Yeah.
He's going to leave there going, well, I tried everything, it didn't work out.
Yeah. It's just kind of tough because here you have John Fox, who's not a bad coach. He's a pretty decent coach, and yet the organization just had a bad draft. Like, not saying that Trubisky is going to be a bust. We have no idea. He could be a great quarterback for all we know. I mean, you were saying in our previous video when we were talking about these quarterbacks that he's being compared to as having arm talent of Aaron Rodgers. He may. We don't know. We just don't have enough. We don't have enough film or evidence to kind of say yes or no to it. But with the little evidence that we do have, it's just kind of more so like, well, we're probably going to say that his chances of not panning out are greater than him actually working out. So it's just kind of sad because here are the Bears going completely backwards. You thought last season was bad with Jay Cutler's last season, which you knew it was going to be a bad season. Now it's going to be worse this season, and who knows what next season's going to be if they keep drafting like this. They're going to go through more quarterbacks. They're going to go through more giving away valuable picks that they need to hold on to. Like, you want to talk about the 49ers saying we need more picks to expand our roster. The Bears are in the same situation. They needed more picks to make their team better. You know, you can't do that if you're giving them away for a reach. I mean, a glorified reach.
And it's not even like they have a talented receiver anymore. They let go of Alshon Jeffrey. He's on the Eagles now.
No, I mean
it's not like you have a guy where Trubisky can go to.
Right.
You're completely rebuilding.
You could have easily dropped down 1 to 2 spots to either... say you dropped all the way down to the Jets and let them take Deshaun Washington. You just need to address more of either a defense or wide receiver because basically you let Alshon Jeffrey walk. You could have had Mike Williams at number 7 or number 6. You could have waited until 3 to let him come over to you. I mean, you had a lot more choices than Mitchell Trubisky. Not saying that, again, we don't know if he'll pan out or not, but this just doesn't look good, and you give up more picks than what this kid might be valuable as. I mean, unless he's got to throw the football to make a scrub receiver better, which I've never seen it before, then that's pretty much what we're looking at right now. So,
yeah, I mean, listen, I like the Kevin White kid that they have. The guy is constantly dealing with injuries, and if he wasn't, he'd be a really good receiver.
Yeah.
He had a nice 4 to 5 game stretch of really good receiver play. He was a nice compliment to Alshon Jeffrey. And when Alshon Jeffrey was out for, I think he was out for like a couple of weeks or so, Kevin White really stepped up and played well.
Yeah.
He wasn't great, but he did really well. And that was basically because it was his rookie year, because his technically rookie year, he was out
with a foot injury. Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, you can't rely on Eddie Royal. I mean, he's nice, but Jay Cutler can get him the ball because Jay Cutler is a veteran. He knows how to throw the ball. I know everyone wants to, dump on him. I understand it all. But what I'm saying is, you went from Jay Cutler experienced to Mitchell Trubisky, who's only played 13 games in college. You're absolutely right. That's a huge reach.
Right.
And you are banking on almost an impossible feat right now with no O-line, no receivers. You got a decent running back, I'll give you that, and no defense. You have no help.
Right. There's just so much more that you could have done with those picks that you gave away than what you got in return. And again, I just think it's the brilliance of John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. Just that's what happens when you get some 2 young, thriving, young bloods basically in the NFL. It's not how it used to be where you have, a ton of guys just looking at film. You got just basically like, let's put our heads together and let's work together. And that's what happened. They came out with more draft picks, more help. They addressed their defense. They worked on their offense with little that they have. And they're just setting themselves up for when the next drafts come up to prepare themselves even better. I mean, they could be relevant in the next 3 years. And I mean how they used to be when they were in the NFC Championship game against the Seahawks relevant. They could be that close given 3 years if they keep drafting like this. And you got Solomon that gets a year or 2 under his belt and how big of a monster he possibly could be. I mean, 49ers are setting themselves up for a great future.
Yeah, the Niners did great. I'm not happy with the Bears with what they did. I thought they could have done a lot better. They absolutely panicked and made a terrible trade and did not help themselves.
No.
Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is True Code Sports Talk. Also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, which is also Drew Code Sports Talk. Thank you.